Hello, I'm Jeff Panozzo. I'm Deputy Chief Medical Officer for the North Collier Fire District. I've been a physician here with the district for, I guess it's been about 17 years now, and been in Naples, Florida about 18 years. So I got with the district shortly after I arrived here from Chicagoland. So my background, it's kind of interesting. I started thinking about this as I was preparing for this talk. Many people that know me quite intimately know that I was a firefighter and a paramedic in the Chicagoland area. But my history really goes well beyond that. And I'll have to mention some of it because it's really why I think I'm sitting in this chair right now. My father was one of the first paramedics in the state of Illinois. He became a certified paramedic. He was a fire chief and somewhat of a hero and mentor to me, sort of ironically in many ways, because I thought I would be doing other things with my life, but I was always driven back to the fire service. And I can remember the first time I saw a fire truck. It was actually a fire next door to my house. And I remember going outside and sort of directing the firefighters to where I saw the smoke. It was on the side of the building. And I didn't really think much about it, but that was pretty much the start for me. I was really excited to see the trucks come up and the equipment that the firefighters had on. And I guess you could say it was sort of in my blood, but I was quite young. And time passed. My father was, as I said, very active in the fire district where I lived. And there was always a monitor on, and I always heard the tones drop, and I always heard the calls go down. And I got to know the radio operators, the dispatchers by their voices. And I got to know all the fire members that were on the radio by their voices. And if my dad brought me to the firehouse, it was kind of cool because I'd meet one of them and realize, hey, that's that guy. That's that guy that's on the radio that says KSG 346, giving his call signs to the dispatch and so on. So from then on, it was pretty much in my blood. And I would go to the firehouse with my dad all the time. He was a volunteer firefighter initially, and they had duty where they would go to the station and they would have to do certain things. And I would jump in the trucks and I'd sit in the driver's seat of a truck or in the back of the truck where we used to ride in the back of the truck on the back bumper. And I'd stand back there and hold on to the rail and imagine being on the back of that vehicle as it responded to a call. And I guess you'd say I was pretty much all in at that point. And as time went on, I decided I wanted to be a doctor. But I became an EMT first, and then I became a paramedic, and a firefighter, and an engineer, and really became absorbed in the career, and parallel with my father. So it was an interesting career up till then. But I always had this thing where I'd be on the scene, and I might be responsible in the jump seat, so I had to handle fire suppression. And when a person was there and a person was involved, I wanted to get involved with the care of that person, i.e. patient. And I'd be redirected often by my chiefs, and they'd say, hey, you got a job here, you have to do it. And so I did. I did my job, and I watched from afar as they took care of the patient. And I always thought that's really where I need to be. And so as time went on, I became a paramedic, as I mentioned, and really loved being a paramedic. I was all in on being a paramedic. And had a great crew that I worked with and learned a lot. But there was still that gap. We'd bring the patient to the hospital and I wondered, what happened to that person? What happened to that little kid? What happened to that person that had such bad injuries? And I was drawn to do more. And so I applied to medical school and eventually became a physician. And of course, you all know me as Dr. P here. I've been a doctor for many years. I trained at Cook County Hospital in Chicago. For one reason, mainly I wanted to be at the place that I envisioned as the best in Chicago for everything. And it was indeed an experience. But the fire was always in me. The medics would come in and the firemen would come in. Them above all else, I was drawn to, and I always was. And so I eventually moved here to Naples, Florida, became involved with the district and quite frankly, Chief Aguilera at the time, who somewhat endeared me when I was at Physicians Regional Hospital as the director there, and brought me to the firehouse here. And it was exactly the firehouse that I came from, the district I came from. There's the size, the amount of members that were around, and once again I was hooked and all in. And whoa, it's been a ride. It's been probably 15 years that I've been with this district, and it's been a quite enjoyable time to be here. What I do for the district, I'm Deputy Chief Medical Officer, and I work alongside Dr. Augustine and Chief Aguilera, and we pretty much run the operations for EMS here at the district. When I first came with the district, I was impressed by the amount of technical expertise that they brought and that they desired. And that's really what brought me along to this district and drives me even to this day. So currently my responsibilities are mainly with the men and the ladies of the district that are in the street, EMTs, paramedics, the firefighters. And I'm driven to assist them with training, mentorship. I think that's the most important part of my responsibility here. And to teach them the way to do the job right, and how important the job is. Because the job has, as we all know, a lot of stress, and stressors that can stay with us forever. So that I look at as one of my most important parts of what I do. Most of the guys and ladies here know that my father was a chief, and my dad, I was lucky to be with my dad the last moments of his life. And many of them know this story, and I'm going to repeat it again. My dad told me, one of the last things he said to me was, take care of the men. And he meant take care of the men and ladies too. But at the time, that's how it came out. And I knew what he meant. And I walked away, I was in hospice at the time, and I walked away and I thought to myself, wow, I think Dad just gave me an assignment that's with the rest of my life. And that's really where I take what I do with the district. I do the training and credentialing, as you know. I give expertise and medical expertise when it's asked. A lot of times, I'll jump on an engine, and that's for me. I get to ride on the engine and go to the scene with the crew. But I like to watch when I'm on the scene with them, and I take in what they're doing, and I learn from them what I need to do to make them better. And quite honestly, the cool part of this job is that when I hear a siren going down the street, and I might be at home or out and about, I know they're going to do the right thing for our community. And that's what brings me great joy. And I think that's what my dad meant. And we're in a great position with this district now where I know and I'm confident that we provide the best care we can in an all hazards fashion. So one of the things that keeps me involved in the district is the future sort of projects that we have, and sort of a vision I can see, and the chief and Dr. Augustine and the EMS training division have in regard to where is fire, all hazard EMS going to go in the future. And I can tell you the future is going to be different. It's going to be challenging, and it'll be exciting as well. What I see and what we see is the form of an ambulance that we see on an everyday basis is going to be less and less prominent. And you're going to see more, I guess you'd say more SUVs, fire district SUVs with maybe just a shield on them, driving around with a advanced practice clinician, an APC, like a PA or a nurse practitioner, along with a paramedic. And they're going to be going to the homes of patients and helping assist them with delivering medical care and continuity of care. The crews on the scene caring for these patients will be able to send vital information to the physicians, who can also assist with care plans and so on for the patients to enable the patient to be well and stay out of the hospital. Because that's really the goal, is to keep people well enough where they don't have to spend their time in the hospital, and provide as much care as we can where they want it, which is in their home. So that's one of the key things I see. And there's also social service issues that we're immersed with, especially now. We've noticed them after we have emerged from COVID and the pandemic. And these social service issues and psychiatric issues are seemingly getting more and more intense. And quite frankly, it's because they've been ignored. And this district is not ignoring those things. And we have active plans right now and are actively working with social service workers, case managers, in order to try and assist our community and our citizens with social service needs that they might have. So that ambulance that I talked about that we see on the bay will become less and less active. I think that's a definite. So to be clear, ambulances and fire trucks will always be around. The technology will change with those vehicles, but the trucks and the emergency response will always be necessary. And here at North Collier, we're very well positioned to provide that care. But the future has other things, as I mentioned, and those things such as social service needs and in-house medical care and psychiatric care will be expanded more into the fire district realm because we're best suited to be able to go into the home and assist those patients. So what we will do is bring the technology necessary to treat these patients in a compassionate way, in the proper manner, and they receive the care where they want it in their homes. Those are the main things that keep me here in the district, and also it's the members. And as you know, we have a recruit team right now. I guess there's about a dozen recruits just in the other room right now. I'm actually going to go talk to them shortly. And the message I bring to them is what I talked about already, which is the basics, doing the basics, and doing the basics very, very well, but caring for a person because they're a human, and always understanding that's the most important aspect of what they provide. And finally, for the district and for the members, it's always, to me, about their own well-being. And I want them truly to be happy in their careers and live long lives with their families after their career has ended. And that's why I'm still here. I guess that's why I'm talking with you today. And I appreciate the time to be able to share some of those thoughts with you. Thank you.